Hey guys, Jay Hoyt here. Before we get into today's video, I just want to say a quick thank you guys for showing so much support here on the channel. And for your reward, here's a new series. What's on, guys? Jay Hoyt back with you today. Welcome back to NHL24. Usually at some point during the year, we try to get on to different game modes other than just HUT and explore what the new game has to offer. Well, this one, we're going back to the classic franchise mode. This year, we will be going with the Buffalo Sabres. Yes, another New York team that has not made the playoffs in the last, I think it is 12 years and counting. Now, they've had superstars that kind of got poached by a certain team over there, along with some young superstars signing big contracts. So, we got a decent team. We have a good start. It's not like we're completely in the garbage, but we have some work to do, and that starts right now. So we are here in the preseason, and we just want to give a little bit of an update. So I know I said in the last franchise mode video that we were going to be turning off morale because holy cow, people complain about their ice time so much, and I can't deal with that. You're going to get the ice time I give you and what you kind of earn and deserve, and we're going to call it good after that. So let's just take a quick look at the team, kind of see what our needs are, see what the kind of direction is, because usually if you're going through a rebuild, trying to figure out what's wrong with the team, usually you're not starting in a great spot. However, Buffalo's actually in a pretty decent spot, right? We have some good young players, and when we take a look through the team, we'll go position by position. We look at Tage Thompson, we look at Dylan Cousins, Casey Middlestat. Even if you want to kind of bypass a couple of these guys, we have, I think it's Matthew, is it Savoy, I think? Matthew I was right the first time. And then a couple other younger players down here that all have a little bit of trade value, and it seems like they might be a bright part of our future. So we have at least 3 good centers. What else do we have on the squad? So we have Jeff Skinner, who's making way too much money. We have some, kind of some fill-in guys here. Some young talent in Zach Benson and Peyton Krebs, part of the Jack Eichel deal. A couple other left wings down here that have a little bit of trade value that are young and look to be somewhat decent. So we have a good start there. Our forwards are looking okay. We're pretty set on right wings as well, right? Alex Tuch, again, part of that Vegas deal with Peterka, Jack Quinn, Kyle Okposo, and only one guy for the AHL. But of course, we'll build out that AHL team, get some good young players in there, and hopefully try to build them up to be in the NHL one day. But with this, we already have a good young core, right? You look at some of the ages of our top 9 forwards, 22 years old, 21 years old. I mean, Alex Tuch, 27, that's still somewhat young. With the exception of Skinner, Krebs, and Benson, 22 years old, 18 years old. You look at the centers, 25, 22, 24 years old. So we have a good young core there. When look at the back end, of course, it's going to be, highlighted with our top 2 left defensemen, Dahlin and Owen Power, along with, we have Samuelson locked up long-term for 7 years at $4.2 million. So it's going to probably be deals like that we're going to have to kind of evaluate and see, do we have the space? Do we need to make space? Within the first couple of years, it's going to be a lot of figuring out of, who do we want where and everything like that. So we also have Yoki Haru down here as well. So going into next year, we do have 2 big-time extensions. So we have Dahlin at $11 million for 8 years. We have Owen Power for $8.35 million for 7 years. Both of those are contracts that are signed, obviously, in real life. So we can't really do much about that. In the goaltender side, we have a pair of young goaltenders. I'm always going to pronounce it wrong, so let's get it wrong the first time. Is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, I think. Again, not very great with names, but one name I can pronounce is Devin Levi. That's nice and easy, which is probably going to be our goalie of the future. So I'm pretty excited about that. With our team, obviously, we have a good young core, and the first kind of year will be a big kind of, let's just see what we got and go for the playoffs. No, not really. We're going to try to make sure our team is in a decent spot at the end of the year, so that way we can secure our future as well. So not too many expectations here on the first year of our franchise mode, right? So at this point, there was a couple of teams that we might have picked before this process started, and one was going to be like Arizona, but like everybody does Arizona. It's pretty easy to figure them out. They build around Keller and, you know, just get everybody new in there and then relocate them anywhere else, and usually that's a recipe for success. The other team I was thinking about was the Columbus Blue Jackets, but they were actually doing better, in the recent history than I thought. So the only other thing is, yeah, we turned off player morale, and we also we changed how the season overtime works. So instead of doing the classic or the authentic, I think it's called, 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime, and if nobody scores, it goes to a shootout. Instead, we're going full continuous overtime, just like the playoffs, and there will be no overtime loss point. I believe I turned that off. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember offhand. So I'm going to go fix the lines. Or actually, no, we actually did the lines already when I set up the franchise mode, and we actually did them for what they are in real life according to Elite Prospects website, with the exception of Olofsson wasn't in the lineup, so I'm not sure what's going on with him. So we put him and swapped him in Greenway, and then we put Peyton Krebs in the AHL just so he could play down there instead of just being a fourth liner. Because when you put playmakers on the fourth line, it usually doesn't work out very well. So depending on how everybody does here, if Benson starts to struggle or, you know, isn't really playing a lot or doing well, then we'll send him down, kind of, you know, let him play down the AHL and bring up somebody else. But for the meantime, this is how it's gonna work. You know, like I said, this is pretty as close to the same lineup as what was on the website. So I think that's it. We did send Dylan Levi down just because when you have two young goaltenders and one of them doesn't play, I don't want to stunt their growth. So let's get going, right? We did the lines. Injuries, I believe, should be off. So here we are. We passed through the preseason, and I think we went like 4-3 or like 5-2-1 or something. Like, not incredible by any means, but not terrible. So we're going to try to see what this team is made out of, right? We have the young core. We already have kind of the superstar defensemen, two of them. And then we also have a good young center core, a couple of good wingers that, you know, not necessarily they're the greatest overall, but they're still kind of there. You know, a good right wing crew that are young and are pretty much NHL ready, I should say. You know, some solid support pieces around our defense and two young goalies. So, you know, we're in a decent spot as far as if we're talking about a rebuild, then I would say we're ahead of schedule. But, of course, we got to get the quality up. We can't just have the young talent that has potential. We need to have the quality as well. So, we're going to get to about the halfway point in the year. And actually, we're in a pretty okay spot. So, what do we got? 38. So, we need 3 more games. So, to the 10th. And we might even let this one ride completely out here. But let's just go halfway through the year, right? 42 points. Where is it? 42 points. 21, 18, and 2. And we're not in a terrible spot. I mean, we could go take a quick look through the stats and kind of just see. But again, first year is kind of just, let's see what we got. And kind of sit back and not really change anything, right? It is, even though the point of this is to kind of fix this team of why can't we get to the playoffs and win, but we need to figure that out. So, Thompson leading the way with 38 points. I mean, Middlestad's doing quite well. Cousins not up there as much as he should be. Benson's doing okay. Olafson's there. Fourth line's doing fourth line things. Our second line is not playing great. So maybe we'll have to, I mean, again, do we want to try to switch stuff up to try to do well or just kind of let it ride out? I'm not sure. Why does Eric Johnson have 4 game-winning goals? Okay. Goaltenders, okay. And then, well, we turned over some of the lines and kind of mixed them up a little bit, trying to shake it up and see how we're doing. But again, I don't want to go too crazy, right? We're not fixing any of the power play or penalty kill lines or anything. We're just kind of rocking with how we are, right? We're just kind of letting this year coast on by, and we're going to see what this team's made of, right? Because we're not expecting much. The offseason will be a big one. The first offseason of a new franchise mode is always the, I would say, the biggest one until you're ready to go for it all. And then you're like, okay, we got to stack the team. Because typically if I was playing a franchise mode by myself, off YouTube, off recording, and what I do is, the first thing I do is cap management. Right, so like in the likes of like Samuelson, who's playing on our third line, making $4.3 million for 7 more years, he would be gone so fast. Right, nothing against him as a player, but for what he brings to the team, and he's making that much money for that long, it's like we're not having that. If we're gonna spend money on a player, they better be putting up some points for us, or playing the best defense in the world. And being behind Power and Dahlin, not going to do it. So 66 points. We are, I guess, tied for a wild card spot. And I mean, then there's 64. So I mean, we're like 10th or maybe 11th overall in the Eastern Conference. The Lightning are struggling big time. Capitals are struggling big time. Either way, let's keep going. I mean, we're not going to make, and this is the part where like, usually I would make some trades, try to, you know, beef up for the postseason, but no, we're just letting it ride. Tickets and stuff, I mean, we did keep all this on, so I probably should pay a little bit of attention towards that. Pretty good sized trade here. Usually I don't even like think about the other team's trades, but Jeremy Swayman and 2 guys I've never heard of getting traded from Boston for Justin Schultz, Brandon Tanev, and Connor Carrick. That's a decent sized trade. I mean, I don't think that's a good trade by any means, but hey, let's let it ride. I mean, we're kind of falling out of the wild card spot race here. So we might end up, we're in it now, 82 points. We're close. If we're going to make the playoffs in the first year, I mean, that'd be pretty incredible. Haven't made it in 12 years. Did we? 82. We're not confirmed yet, though. So we're all on the Panthers to make the last wild card spot. They pushed us out. They pushed us out at the last second. No, that's no way. They did. Oh my, that's incredible. I was about to say, if I would have pushed this team to the playoffs in the first year without even trying, jeez, did our AHL team figure it out? Oh, we got one more game left, but I don't think we can actually get it in there. Even, yeah, no. So, okay, so both teams not in the playoffs at all. So, obviously, this first video we kind of flew by, but it was kind of intended, right? We want to check it out, kind of see what our team's made of. We'll get in here, kind of notice what our team's up to. And, of course, next year will be a big year. So, Tage Thompson leading the way. Skinner right behind him. Tuck's up there. That was basically our first line. We mix it up towards the end there. Cousins figured it out. Actually, okay, we figured it out afterwards. Obviously, all these big-time minus players I don't really like. But, like I said, we're going to figure it out. So, defensive-wise, I mean, we're okay, but obviously a couple of guys a little bit more plus-minus than I'd like. Goaltenders, I mean, not awful, but not great either. Anybody do anything incredible down here? I mean, obviously there's a lot of guys that will not be with us next year. Big time minuses. Okay, so coaching, scouting, I mean, this year is going to be pretty incredible as far as turnover for our team goes. So the Florida Panthers and the Belleville Senators are the Stanley Cup and the Calder Cup champs this year. So of course we'll do a lot of firing and upgrading and all that fun stuff off camera because nobody wants to see that boring stuff. But until next video, thank you so much for watching episode number 1 of our franchise mode with the Buffalo Sabres. There will definitely be more to come, and next year, or this offseason into next year, I should say, will be a big year for the squad. Being that close with this young core of players, we're in a pretty good spot already. But if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button. Let me know of your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below. And if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, make sure to subscribe. And as always, guys, we'll see you in the